أتعلم، أنا أتعلم. إحنا في المدرسة طلاب، نتعلم ويا الأصحاب، نفتح للمستقبل باب، نحيي في الوطن التجديد. إحنا في المدرسة طلاب، نتعلم ويا الأصحاب، نفتح للمستقبل باب، نحيي في الوطن التجديد. أتعلم، أنا أتعلم، حتى أفيد وأستفيد، وأعرف لما أتكلم إنه كلامي صح ومفيد. ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا.
السلام عليكم. This is Ashraf Habib from the Yasmin section, Ibn Khaldun Schools, English Word Class 4, Grade 4, Unit 12, Lesson 2. Our objectives for today. By the end of this lesson, learners are guided to write who said different sentences in a story. Write who said different sentences in a story. Number 2, answer deductive questions. Match words and definitions. Answer deductive questions. Match words and definitions. Number 3, order sentences from a story. Before we start our lesson for today, I'd like you now to remember what lesson did we have last time. What was the topic of the lesson? You remember? Yes, the main topic was a desert oasis, and the subtitle was The Lost City. The Lost City. Do you remember? Okay, who can tell me, why did Tom want to sit down? Why did Tom want to sit down? Yes? Excellent. He was very hot and tired. He was very hot and tired. Okay. Question number 2. Who has found the lost city? Who has found the lost city? Who can remind me? Very good. Tom and Pete. Question number 3. What could Uncle Jim see? What could Uncle Jim see? Yes, tall pots and furniture. Tall pots and furniture. Next question. Who came in the 4x4? Who came in the 4x4? Very good. 2 men. What did the 2 men want? What did the 2 men want? Remember? Yes, they wanted anything interesting. They wanted anything interesting. I'd like you now to go back to page 116 and 117. Let's listen and read the topic again. Okay, I'm going to play it now. Listen and underline the most important ideas.
Poster 12 and Pupils Book Unit 12, page 116. Reading The Lost City. The adventure began when Tom sat next to a giant ear. "I'm too hot and tired to go any further," he said. "We left the oasis hours ago. It's time for a rest." He put his bag on the hot rock beside him and then exclaimed, "Look at this! It's an enormous ear." He stood up and brushed a little sand off the rock. "Here's an eye, and down here there's a nose. It's a huge face." Uncle Jim was amazed. "It's the head of a statue," he said. But why is it here, in the middle of the desert? Pete was looking at the ground. These big flat stones look like a floor, he said. He stepped onto the first stone. It slid away under his foot, and he nearly fell over. Uncle Jim grabbed his arm. They stared into a narrow, dark hole in the ground. "What's down there?" asked Pete. Uncle Jim knelt down and shone his torch into the hole. "What can you see?" asked Pete. Uncle Jim was silent. "Oh, isn't there anything down there?" asked Tom. He sounded disappointed. "There's a big room down there," said Uncle Jim. "I can see tall pots and furniture. It might be very valuable. I must phone the city museum." Just then, they heard a distant hum. Tom looked up. "A car's coming," he said. "Quick, let's put this map over the hole," said Uncle Jim. "We shouldn't tell anyone about it. Sometimes people take valuable things and sell them as souvenirs." "How can we hide the head?" asked Pete. "I know," said Tom. "Let's put the picnic basket over the head. If we put the water bottles and some fruit on the blanket, it will look like a picnic. Then we'll sit on the head. Hurry!" A big silver 4x4 roared round the sand dunes. 2 men got out and walked across the sand. "Hi," said the first man. "Are you looking for something special?" "We're not looking for anything at all," said Uncle Jim. "We're just tourists." The 2 men looked at them suspiciously. "If you find anything interesting, we will pay you money for it," said the second man. "We haven't seen anything interesting all day," said Tom. "No camel trains, no ruins, not even a date palm. It's all very boring." The 2 men drove away and Uncle Jim phoned the museum. He spoke to Professor Hamid for a long time. Professor Hamid was an archaeologist who worked in the museum. When he arrived, he looked into the hole. "Have we found something exciting?" asked Pete. Professor Hamid smiled. "Do you remember the 2 men who were in the 4x4? Pete and Tom nodded. "Those men are looking for something." "Treasure?" suggested the boys at once. Professor Hamid nodded. "They are looking for a lost city," he said. "And guess what? I think you have found it."
Okay, let's go back to page 118, question number 1. I'm going to tell you sentences and you are going to determine who said them. Who said them? Number 1. Exercise number 1. Who said it? It's a huge face. It's a huge face. Huh? Who can tell me who said it? Excellent. This is tall. Number 2. It's the head of a statue. It's the head of a statue. Who said it? Uncle Jim. Yes. Number 3. These big flat stones look like a floor. These big flat stones look like a floor. Try to remember who said it. Yes, Pete. Number 4. What's down there? Yes, this is Pete. I must phone the city museum. I must phone the city museum. You remember? Of course, this is Uncle Jim. Number 6. Are you looking for something special? You remember the 4x4? Yes. The first man. Are you looking for something special? This is the first man. It's all very boring. This is Tom. And the last one. Those men are looking for something. Professor Hammett. Okay? Have you finished? Write down the answers. Okay, let's go to the second question. This is discuss and answer to these questions. Number 1. Why was Uncle Jim amazed? Why was Uncle Jim amazed? Who can tell me? Yes. Big pieces of statue are not usually found in the middle of the desert. Big pieces of statue are not usually found in the middle of the desert. This is what made Uncle Jim amazed. Number 2. Why did they hide the hole in the ground? Why did they hide the hole in the ground? Who can tell me? Yes, very good. They didn't want anyone to know what was under the stones. They didn't want anyone to know what was under the stones. And the last question. Why did Tom say, it's all very boring? You remember Tom? Why did he say this? Yes. He didn't want the men to stay. If he said this is an interesting place, they might fight the head and the hole. They might take something away. They might take some things away. So he wanted them to leave. That's why he said it's all very boring to go away and not to stay with them in order not to find the head and the hole. Okay, let's go to the next exercise, which is match words and definitions. Match words and definition. You may check your dictionary. What's meant by amazed? Who can tell me what's meant by amazed? Yes, very surprised. Very surprised. So write down letter D here. What's meant by amazed? Very surprised. Number 2, grab. Grab. Excellent. To take hold of something quickly. What's meant by grab? To take hold of something quickly. So number 2, letter E. Number 3, valuable. Valuable. Yes. Valuable means equal to a large amount of money. Equal to a large amount of money. This is valuable. Suspiciously. Suspiciously. Yes, letter P. Thinking something may not be true. Thinking something may not be true. This is what's meant by suspiciously. Number 5, boring. Yes, boring is the opposite of interesting. Not at all interesting. Not at all interesting. So the answers are D, E, A, B, C. Are you finished? Yes? Who can tell me again what's meant by amazed? Excellent. Amazed means very surprised. And what's meant by grab? Yes, to take hold of something quickly. To take hold of something quickly. Number 3, valuable. What's meant by valuable? Yes, equal to a large amount of money. Equal to a large amount of money. Suspiciously. Thinking something may not be true. And the last one, boring. Boring means not at all interesting. I'd like you now to open your workbook on page 112, exercise number 1, unit 12. Yes. Reading comprehension and vocabulary. Read pages 116 and 117 in your pupil's book again. And we have read them. Okay. After reading them, now number these sentences in the correct order. Number these sentences in the correct order according to the story we had on page 116 and 117. Yes? The first one is already done for you. The first sentence, Tom sat next to a giant ear. Number 2, yes, Uncle Jim was amazed. Number 3, Pete stepped on the first stone. Pete stepped on the first stone. Number 4, Uncle Jim grabbed Pete's arm. Uncle Jim grabbed Pete's arm. Yes, number 5, they heard a distant hum. They heard a distant hum. Number 6, yes, Uncle Jim put his map over the hole. Uncle Jim put his map over the hole. Number 7, 2 men arrived in a 4x4. 2 men arrived in a 4x4. Number 8, Tom said, it's all very boring. Tom said, it's all very boring. And number 9, Uncle Jim phoned Professor Hamid. Uncle Jim phoned Professor Hamid. Okay? So, the right order will be 9, 4, 7, 1, 3, 10, 2, 5, 8, and 6. Of course, Professor Hamid said, I think you have found the lost city will be the last sentence. Exercise number 2. Match, write the words. Match, write the word. Number 1, sand dune. This is number 4. Archaeologist. This is number 3. torch. This is number 5. Furniture. This is number 1. And the last one will be treasure. This is number 2. So the first one would be furniture, the second one treasure, the third one archaeologist, the fourth one would be sand dune, the last one would be torch. Until I see you, I wish you all luck. Goodbye.